being an entrepreneur sounds cool, but the reality of building a business is very, very difficult. Every level that you hit, there's a lot of things that suck that you just won't want to do. What you're capable of is on the other side. I don't feel like it.
And if you're committed to what it is that you're trying to do, nothing is going to stop you from getting there.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley. Hope you guys are kicking ass. Guys, this week, I want to talk about a topic that has the ability to dictate how your life turns out. I get on call after call. I get DM after DM from business owners. And the common theme is a lot of people are struggling. And the majority of their struggles are the way that they feel. In other words, they're depressed. They're dealing with mental health things. And I believe that entrepreneurship is a tough battle by itself. If we don't have our mind right, it's going to be a very, very difficult battle. It's like kind of swimming upstream, so to speak. This week's podcast is regarding we honor what we believe and we act according to it. So I do believe that people are struggling mentally. I have firsthand encounters with individuals over and over and over and over. And it really comes down to the way that they're thinking, a belief that they have, a bias that they have about something. And it's really the way that they think that's what's causing them to struggle. I also believe that the way that you feel in your body is a big determining factor in the way that you think and what you believe. Like if you feel like shit and you're depressed, like you're not going to have a high level of belief that you're going to achieve greatness or a high level of success when you're at a low moment. It just doesn't work like that. So I do believe that the body itself, it's so important for you to maintain that and be healthy, to give yourself the opportunity to have a high level of belief in yourself and to feel good in this vehicle that you've been given to go through your life with. And so there's a couple things that I would say that have the ability to help you increase your belief, help you maybe remove some of your bias, and get where you're trying to go, become successful, feel good, have financial independence, and taking care of your body is a big part of that. I will tell you this, there's a prebiotic that I take. There's a supplement called the mood stabilizer that I take. I take creatine, not necessarily for muscles. If you do research on creatine, there's a ton of benefits in terms of how it affects you mentally. So I believe the way that you feel has a lot to do with your gut biome. So that's why I take the prebiotics. The mood stabilizer has some things in there that also help with some of the neuron connections that you have mentally. And then creatine is an overall great thing for brain function. So I do think that supplementing some things so that you could feel good in your body is important, but I'm going to start going through some of these things because if you have a terrible body, you don't feel good in it. It's going to be difficult to overcome, some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. So I do think that there's, it's a multifaceted thing in order to increase belief and remove some of your bias. And so I think it does start with actually feeling good, moving your body and giving it the supplements that it needs to be able to operate at its peak. Because if you feel good, you have a higher level of belief in terms of what you have the ability to accomplish. We all have bias of what we think that we can do based upon things that we've accomplished in the past. And that's the biggest detriment to the average person, the average business owner. It's like, well, we've always done it this way, or I can't really do that. Like when I ran 10 miles, it was difficult. I can't ever see myself running 50. So again, what they're doing is they're utilizing the record of the past to project on what's possible in the future. And I see that so frequently. Anytime I talk to anybody about some of the physical things that I'm doing, oh, I could never do that. And it's like, well, you've never really tried to do it, so you don't know if you can or you can't do it. And so the only thing that has the ability to change your belief is taking action and taking one step closer to that thing that you might think might be a little too big for you right now. But each step that you take and you get closer to it, it starts to become more realistic that it is possible. If we don't upgrade our identity, then we won't ever be able to accomplish anything great. I talk to people when I was doing one-on-one interviews with employees, when I was running a company with 46 employees, some people, oh, I'm shy, And I said, okay, well, is the result that you want out of life, is it going to happen if you continue to honor that belief that you're shy? Somebody probably told you were shy when you were younger, and you just said, you overheard it, and you said, yeah, I'm shy. Yeah, I'm shy. I'm shy. You're reinforcing a belief that might not serve you. You're reinforcing a belief that might hold you back from getting you where you want to be. Some people have a belief that they're flawed in some way. We're all fucking flawed, so like, cool. Yeah, you probably are flawed, but that flaw isn't going to hold you back from getting you where you want to go. You have the ability to overcome some of the flaws that you currently have, but every human being is flawed. That's why we're here on earth, is to, learn, make mistakes, and grow from some of the flaws that we have and try to become better. I used to have a belief that I'm not a reader. Every time I would open up a book, read a page, it just wouldn't soak in. I utilized the reference of the past, high school. Man, I'm not a reader. Every time I tried to read something that I was told to read, I just would totally forget what was on the page, and I would have to reread it, shut the book, and just say I'm not a reader. But that's like giving half-ass effort. That's like giving 1 or 2% effort and just saying, well, I'm not really good at this thing, so I'm going to stop. If reading is going to, by default, help me get to my goals and become financially independent and be more successful, then that's a battle that I need to overcome. I need to discipline myself and become a reader. And so that's what I decided to do. I honored an old identity, an old bias, a belief that I had about myself for so long. And the only thing that was doing was allowing me a free pass, so to speak, not to do what I should be doing that would make me a better person, give me an opportunity to see a better result, which is what I wanted. I wanted a better result. And a lot of time people, it's, selective application is what I would call it. They're working with a coach or a mentor, they're a part of a mastermind group, or they're watching videos on YouTube or Instagram, and they're seeing people give advice, and it's selective application. They're like, well, if somebody says, read, wake up early, do this, do that, and you're like, oh, I'm not a reader, but I'll wake up early. It's like you're selecting the things that you think that you have the ability to do, rather than just completely reinventing yourself and doing exactly what they said. Selective application is one of the most dangerous things when it comes to success. Like, you can't pick and choose what you want to do and then say, well, that probably won't work for me, but I'll try this thing, or I'll try. Like, you should literally try on everything and give it a true effort and try to adopt that habit, try to adopt that routine, or whatever that thing is that you know for a fact will make you a better person, whether it is waking up earlier, whether it is reading, whether it is exercising, whether it is joining a mastermind, whether it is removing yourself from the old crowd that's no longer serving you, whatever it is. Like, we all have hurdles that we have to overcome, and nobody could do that for you. It's your responsibility. It's your job. It's your life. I can't overcome your challenge, your hurdle, your bias, your lack of belief in self. I can't do that for you. But the funny thing is, you continue to honor this bias or this belief that you have about yourself that's not serving you as a way out of having to do the difficult work that's required in order to become better, to allow you a higher probability of reaching a level of success that would equate to financial freedom. So I had a belief that I'm not a runner. I'm like, fuck that. I don't run. That ain't me. God put me in a 5'7" body and said, you ain't a runner, is basically what I, jokingly said, because I really didn't want to run. Nobody wants to run. Nobody wants to read. Nobody wants to get up early in the morning. Nobody wants to risk their money. Nobody wants to go through discomfort voluntarily. It's the fact that you want a result that's greater than the current result. So therefore, the exchange that you're willing to make is going through discomfort in order to get one step closer. Like, either you're committed to the outcome or you're committed to staying comfortable. You're committed to your beliefs. You're committed to your bias so that you could stay right where you're at. The problem is when you're committed to your current beliefs and bias and you act in accordance to those beliefs, you're going to recreate the exact same result that you're currently experiencing. So you have to challenge yourself. By default, if you want better, if you want to feel better in your body, you have to do something that you're not normally accustomed to doing, which would require friction. And friction will create the growth that you say that you want to experience. The question is, are you committed to that end result and that outcome so much so that any discomfort in between where you're at now and where you're trying to go will not deter you from that end result? You have to make that predetermined commitment prior to going in. There will be valleys. There's always going to be valleys. It can't be simple. If it was so simple, then everybody would do it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was comfortable, everybody would do it. If you had the ability to show up sometimes in a great manner and then sometimes not and receive a great result, everybody would have a great result. The question that I have for you guys today is, are the beliefs that you currently have serving you? And what are the beliefs that you have? Like, I have to be the person in my business doing everything. Like, that's like one of the biggest ones. I've talked to business owners for 5-6 years now since we've had the podcast. And it's like people reaching out all the employees or this, that, the, and it's like, fuck, how many people have you tried to hire for that position? Well, I've tried to hire 2 and neither one of them worked out. I can't find good help. And I'm like, you might have to go through 6 people in order to get the result that you want. Are you willing to go through that level of discomfort? Failure, wasting money training, Are you willing to go through all of that because you want the outcome? In other words, finding the individual that has the ability to help you within your business bad enough to go through the 5 bad ones that you have to go through to find the good one. Like when I was running a company with 45, 46 employees, how many employees did you think I had to go through in order to have that many employees? We went through hundreds of people. People come, people go. People disappoint you. Some people won't show up. Some people don't have integrity. They don't have character. It just is what it is. There's ways to increase your probability of finding the right person through recruiters. Brian Alexander, he's a part of the Inner Circle. He has a personality assessment that he takes people that are applying for specific jobs through, and it matches up the actual type of individual personality that does well in a role like that and the personality of the applicant. And so the idea is most people just vibe it out. Hey, yeah, sure, I need help. Like, hop in. Let's see what we can do. And so like having the belief that you have to be the guy in the business because you've experienced 1 failure or 2 failures, or a belief that you've got to be the girl that runs everything or the guy that runs like, does that belief serve you? Will that get you where you're trying to go? Will it build the business that you want to build? Will it create financial freedom? The answer, I'll tell you right now, it's not that fucking difficult. The answer is no. If you have to be the person in your business to make it go, then you don't really have a business. You've become a prisoner. You're an operator, not a business owner. You own the business, but you also operate it. You're a prisoner to it. So the idea is, again, whatever is in between where you're at and where you're trying to go, no matter the discomfort, are you committed to the outcome? Removing yourself from your business or finding that right hire. If you're committed to that, who cares if it's 2 people or if it's 20 fucking people? Go through what you have to go through so that you could get to the result that you said that you wanted. Some people have a belief that I have to be stressed or I'm undeserving of results. So they create unnecessary stress, unnecessary anxiety in order to feel like that they're making a proper exchange, because otherwise, if it's not stressful, then I'm not deserving of a high level of success. I experienced that when I first started coming into money. When the dividends started being $50,000, and I'm sitting there looking at a check for $50,000, I'm like, dude, I was so used to, working my tail off, getting there before everybody, locking up as everybody leaves, shutting all the lights off, dealing with all the stress, dealing with shit even outside of, office hours when everybody went home. But it was like, there I was doing all that and I was making whatever, 150 grand a year. And then all of a sudden I start popping $50,000 checks. And I'm doing less, but I'm actually getting paid more. So I felt undeserving of this check because I was like, wait a minute, I'm so used to making this exchange for 150 grand and the exchange has gone down, but the money's gone up. And so I went through this weird phase of like, should I go cash this check and pull out a bunch of money and walk around and pass it around to employees? Like, what do I do? Because I felt undeserving. It's almost like I wanted to like get rid of it so that I didn't feel that guilt. That's a real thing when you're used to being in the trenches, working so hard for X amount, and then you slowly build a business where you can remove yourself from being in the trenches, and then your paychecks increase. You being the guy or girl in your business, your paycheck will not increase. It just won't. What you get paid now is probably what you're going to get paid forever if you remain in that seat doing everything that you're currently doing. You have to elevate yourself out, and then you'll go through a weird phase of, reduced stress and, hopefully, like I did, making way more money. And again, it's just unfamiliar. I wasn't used to that. And so I felt undeserving because I wasn't making that same exchange. I have to be liked in order to feel good about myself. Some people have a belief that they have to say yes to everybody, which is literally exhausting them to the point where they can't even show up for their true responsibilities at a high level. So you have to remove the need to being liked in order to feel good about yourself. You should be feeling good about yourself based upon the routine, the structure that you've created. You've designed your day to create an individual that has the ability to create the outcome that you want. Anything outside of that's a no. Like, let me put it in perspective for you real quick. So I'm trying to break a world record, right? Like, if you want an incredible result with your life and to do things that very few people do, whether you're talking about making millions of dollars, which I've done, whether you're talking about a podcast that has millions of downloads, which I've done, whether you're talking about building multiple 7 figures, 1 8-figure business, which I've done, whether you're talking about chasing a world record and becoming one of one, which is what I'm currently doing, you have to be obsessed with an outcome that no amount of discomfort will deter you from what the end result is. Like, literally obsessed, where you have designed a day that allows the highest probability of success for you to reach that destination. Okay? So let's put it into perspective. I'm not getting paid to break a world record. This is something that I'm doing because I feel good when I'm challenging myself. I feel best when I'm suffering, when I'm in a state of discomfort and I'm overcoming that. I have actual real-time proof that I am stronger than struggle. I am greater than discomfort. That I want something so bad that nothing's going to deter me from that outcome. That's an obsession that I have. And so my mind is constantly thinking about this result that I want. You will get what you think about most often. Like, if somebody thinks about divorce constantly, my guess is they're probably headed for divorce. If you can't stop thinking about hitting $100,000 a month in your business, you're probably going to get to the point where you figure out how to hit $100,000 a month in your business, or 200 or 500,000 or whatever your goal is. If I can't stop thinking about pizza all day, my guess is the probability of me having pizza that evening has skyrocketed because it's top of mind. The way that we think and the beliefs that we have about ourselves, we end up most often acting in accordance to that. And so, putting this back into perspective as I was doing, I'm on my feet running for 18 hours a week. Then I have my gym sessions that are 30 to 45 minutes on top of that. Then I do my cold plunges. Then I have a chiropractor appointment. Like, me accomplishing a world record, it's legit a part-time job where I'm spending 22 to 25 hours a week on my body, on my health, on my feet, lifting weights, and then the maintenance stuff of going to a chiropractor, make sure my hips aren't, misaligned so that I don't get injuries. I don't like having to go get massages for an hour and a half. So I rarely do them unless I'm at a point where physically, I'm just exhausted and my body's beat up, and then I'll go do that. It's not cheap to do what I'm doing, and it's very time intensive. So let me ask you this. What's the outcome that you want so bad that time doesn't matter how much time you got to put in, how much money that you have to invest in order to get that result. I can't stop thinking about becoming one of one. Like it's stamped, tattooed on my mind. It's literally the first thing I think about when I wake up. My legs are sore, so it's the last thing I think about before I go to bed. Having sore legs 24/7 is a constant reminder of what you're currently doing and the goal that you're chasing. And I actually think it's a good thing because it keeps it top of mind. Like, dude, this is what you're doing right now. I equate that pain or that soreness or that discomfort to something positive because I'm in the process. I'm literally doing it. And so I tie it to something positive rather than being like, oh, my legs, I'm sore, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, which, I've been through all that. I've been in the valleys. Day 20 through day 40 was absolutely brutal. And I even said to myself on a run, like, just fucking, if something's going to pull, just like, or snap, just do it now, because it was so difficult. And, I was second guessing the entire thing for those 20 days. And so that was a low point, but showing up on a day-to-day basis with consistency has the ability to change the belief that you have about yourself, maybe some of the biases that don't serve you. And so just the fact of you being consistent, if you haven't been an individual that's been consistent, has the ability to increase your belief about you in anything that you then set out and want to accomplish. Some people have a belief that other people are better than them. Some people have a belief that they're not good at sales. If we hold on to the beliefs, we can't change. People do that so that they don't have to put in the work to overcome it. I mean, let's just call it what it is. The only reason why you can't be consistent or that you don't have a result that you at one point said you wanted because there was a level of discomfort that deterred you from staying the course. When you set your New Year's resolutions, you got tired by February, March, April, whatever it was. Here we are, halfway through the year, and 99% of people's, their goals are, up in smoke. It's done. It's over with, right? And they'll probably recalibrate in January and say the same ass shit. This year's going to be my year. I'm going to do this. Like, the fact is you have record of the past that any time that you set a goal, you have fell short. You have lacked commitment. You have lacked consistency. So therefore, that's ultimately going to create a lack of belief in yourself. So when you commit to something you don't follow through, the only person that it hurts is you, your family, the people that you love and care about, that you say that you want to create a wonderful result for. Most people would rather protect their beliefs than have a better result. So the question is, what beliefs do you have about yourself that are holding you back? We often believe that, it has to be these big things in life that'll make the most impact, when in reality, it's a bunch of the small things compounded over the course of time. Everybody's trying to show up 9 to 5. That's the big thing. But what are you doing in between the 9 and the 5? All the small things that everybody else isn't doing that you could do to make that time more valuable so that it has the ability to compound and bring a wonderful result. Do you believe that you could be fit? Some people just don't believe that. So if you have a belief that you really, everybody in my family's out of shape, there's no way I could be fit. It's not in my family. I can't have a six pack. So let me ask you this. If you have a belief that you can't be fit or you can't have a six pack, would you put forth the effort that would be required in order for you to be fit if you had that belief? Probably not. Why would you put forth effort towards something that you don't have a belief in? So that shows you right there that it all starts with a belief, because without belief, you will not act. It seems pointless to act and exert energy towards something that we don't even think is a possibility. If you don't believe that you could be fit, you don't believe that you can have a six pack, you will act in accordance to that. And you will honor that bias that you have to the point where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You'll never be fit and you'll never have a six-pack. Do you believe that you could be worth $5 million one day? $10 million? I'll tell you, I didn't. But I could tell you right now, I'm worth that. How do you go from not having a belief to then actually seeing it through to the point where you're able to accomplish it? Because I had a belief that I could make six figures. And then once I made six figures, I had a belief that I could make $250,000. And then once I made $250,000, I had a belief that so in other words, every step closer to a larger number, my belief increased. When I made $500,000 in a year, I was like, dude, are you kidding? Like $1 million in a year is actually possible. And then when I got to the point of making over $1 million in a year, it was like something that I couldn't even fathom 3, 4, 5 years prior because of the level of belief that I had over there. But I acted in a manner in which was greater than what my current set of beliefs were in order to increase the result so that my belief then can increase for again an increased result. So it's like if you're making $100,000 a year, it's like what would it take to make 150? It's so close that you have a belief that it's possible because it's not that far off. If I tell you to have a belief that you can make $2 million in a year and you make $100,000, that's going to be a little far-fetched. You're not close enough to that 2 million to actually believe it. It's like me telling you to look and see something that's 300 miles away. You're not going to be able to see it. But if I tell you, hey, look at that mountain right there, you're going to be able to see that mountain. Go to that mountain. And then at that mountain, you could see a different mountain. And so it's like these little baby steps that compound over time where you have the ability to increase the belief about yourself and you start acting in accordance to a result that is greater than the one that you currently have because you have a history or a record of the past that you've been able to accomplish things every time that you've put a target on it and you've actually committed to it. Do you have a belief that you could have a healthy relationship? Some people grew up in an environment where there was unhealthy fighting in a marriage, constantly back and forth. So they have a belief that that's what a relationship looks like. If you don't believe that you could have a healthy relationship, you're not going to act in accordance to it. You're going to default back to your bias. And where did your bias come from? Probably the way that you grew up. Do you believe that you could remove yourself from your business and have it actually be better because of it? Most people will say no to that. And at one point, I would have been right there with you. Nobody could do what I could do. I can't step down from this role because then the job that I'm currently doing won't get done to the level that I do it. And in reality, every time that I've stepped down, there's people that have come in behind me and done a better job. They took the baton from where I was at and ran with it a little bit further. And so my beliefs have changed based upon going through a level of discomfort that I didn't want to go through. I don't want to take a step down, but there was a different business that we had that, I was called to say, hey, we need your help over here. You're going to have to step down from that one. That one's functioning fine. And so I was kind of forced into that situation. And that was a huge, huge blessing because my belief about how to operate a business and build it to where you have the ability to still be profitable and remove yourself from the day-to-day operations. Like I don't build any business at this point with me having to be the one doing it all. It's about building the people around you and finding those people. But if you don't have a belief that can happen, then you're probably, again, not going to act in a manner in which will help you find those people. So what is the belief that you must have in order to get the life you want? Like, do you really, really want to be healthy? Do you believe that if you put forth effort and showed up in a certain manner that could be possible for you? If you don't, then you won't see through the uncomfortable days that everybody that wants to be consistent will have to go through. You're not going to go through anything that somebody else hasn't gone through. There's a history of human beings for hundreds and thousands of years. Your level of discomfort that you're going to have to go through for a greater result, thousands of people have gone through that. So the question is will you be one of them? What action would you have to take in order to increase your belief if you lack belief about something? If you don't believe that you could be healthy or you could be fit, what action could you take in order to increase that belief? Now, I'm not saying go from 0 to hero to not showing up to 7 days a week for the next year. But could you show up in a manner which is Monday through Friday and eat healthy through those? Like, start making progress towards that and then turn it Monday through Saturday. Then Sunday through Sunday, whatever you want to do. Everybody's going to be different in terms of the outcome that they want. I wanted to be one of one. I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted a top podcast. I wanted to have multiple streams of income. I wanted to have my house paid off. I wanted to have money in the bank. I wanted to have cash flowing assets. Those were things that I wanted way worse than any discomfort that I had to go through in order to receive it. Throw whatever you want to throw at me, but there's an outcome that I'm committed to, and whatever the discomfort is, whatever the challenge, whatever the hurt, that is not great enough. That won't deter me. I said I was committed. I have the results that I have based upon a level of discomfort that I personally believe the majority of people just can't handle. The stress, the struggle, the pain, the exhaustion, the discomfort, all of that comes with the territory. So usually those things bog you down so much that you end up depressed. And when you end up depressed, you just don't show up. You're going to have good days. Easy show up, but you're going to have bad days. If you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Everything equals itself out. North has south, left has right, up has down. There's the sun and the moon. You know, there's water and there's fire. There's a boy and a girl. Like, it's everything evens itself out. So if you're going to be consistent, that means by default, you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Going into a big commitment or a big change that you want to make that requires consistency, you're going to have to just know that going in. So when you have a bad day, just chalk it up. It's like, this, I knew it was going to happen. It's just one of those bad days. I'll tell you this right now, the majority of people that I'm talking to that have depression, mental health problems, those type of things, they're really not improving. Is really what it comes down to. There's no routine, there's no structure, there's no discipline, there's no standards within inside of their life that is holding them accountable to improvement. You know, if we aren't improving as a human, now it doesn't matter if you're worth 10 million, 100 million, improvement, not necessarily just financially, whether you're talking about stimulating and challenging your mind, stimulating and challenging your body, you have to be improving yourself as a human, because that's what we're designed to do, is evolve and change and improve. And if you're not doing that, you're going to end up depressed. Have you ever had what seemed on paper to be a good life, but have still felt like something was missing? It's probably lack of improvement or lack of self-worth, which is ultimately caused by the fact of you having the knowing that you're really not improving or putting forth the effort and going through the discomfort that would be required for improvement. The fact that if you know that you're not improving, that overall is just a depressing thought, just in general. It's a known fact that these two things are some of the most unattractive things on the planet, is when somebody says that they have certain values but sacrifice their values for a result. The second most unattractive thing is an uncommitted person. So if you have a belief about yourself that you're not a morning person, or you just can't be consistent, or whatever it is that's this bias that's holding you back, that's a very unattractive quality just in general. And it's not a great quality to have as a human being if you want an exceptional result. If your spouse sees you saying that you're going to do something and watches you compromise over and over, they're not going to respect you. If your employee sees that you say you're going to do something and watches you compromise over, they're not going to respect you. If you watch you say things that you're going to do and compromise over and over, you won't respect you. I just have a deep belief in my soul that we're meant to evolve, we're meant to improve, and the biases that we currently have about ourselves are the things that are holding us back from that improvement. Your current belief system and you acting in accordance to it is one of the biggest hindrances that you're going to deal with when it comes to trying to expand your results, expand yourself, expand your financial success. And so it really comes down to, how do I feel? Do you guys actually feel good in the body and mind that you're given? And if the answer is no, you're going to probably act in accordance to that. You can't have a high level of belief and feel like shit at the same time. It just doesn't work like that. So the first step into increasing belief and having the opportunity to overcome some of the biases that you have is to actually feel good in your being. So I would, again, suggest prebiotics. You can literally Google, it's called mood stabilizer and creatine. If I don't take those, like for instance, if I'm gone for a week and I forget to pack those, I could feel the difference. I can feel my mind shifting in a negative way. I can feel my body being bogged down. I could feel the lack of supplements in my body. And then when I put that into my system within 2 or 3 days, I wake up and I have different thoughts. I feel better. I feel like I'm going to win the day. I feel like a fucking badass, to be just straight frank with you. Like, not to fucking get high on my own horse, but like, that's just what it is. Everybody should want to feel like a badass. Everybody should want to feel like a winner. Everybody should have a high level of belief in themselves. But in order for those things to come about, it's going to require certain things on your part. Supplementing properly so that you feel good in your body and mind. Then moving your body and mind in a manner in which is undoubtedly creating improvement for your life. And then by default, your belief starts just expanding. And what you once thought was impossible is now extremely possible, because you just have this belief about yourself, because you now have a new history of the past that there's no amount of discomfort. There's no challenge. There's nothing that's going to hold me back from getting me where I want to go. And that's empowering. That feels good. That's not depressing. That's something that makes you scratch your head and say, what else did this version of me not think is possible, but really is, provided I am willing to go through the discomfort that requires that result. Like, your mind just starts going crazy and setting big goals, because it's like, dude, I just want to be on the path to something greater than what I currently am. And that individual that's greater than who I currently am will create a result greater than the result that I'm currently experiencing. And so I hope today's episode was beneficial to you. I know that you're struggling. I know that you're hurting. I know that mentally it's tough. I know physically you might be bogged down. There's days you might not want to get out of bed or close the curtains and sleep in all week just to escape reality. Like, I've had the times where I didn't want to wake up and even brush my teeth, or go to brush my teeth before I go to bed. And it's just like, fuck, dude, it's exhausting. I know what you're going through. Fucking do what you're required to do, because the outcome on the other side of that level of consistency, acting despite the feeling that you currently have of not wanting to act, creates a result that nobody's ever regretted. People don't regret expanding themselves, seeing a greater result. They end up looking back on the process that they were once bitching about as some of their most cherished moments, cherished time in life. Like, I do believe that you're living the good old days, and I just want you to really enjoy it. And the only way to do that is know that you're making progress. And the only way to make progress is to remove biases that you have, increase your belief about self, and feel good in your body and mind. So if you guys are ready to level up, go to joinrbo.com. Other than that, please rate and review the fucking show, guys. Like, you know the drill. I mean, I say it at the end of every single one, but leave a review. I love reading them. Hope you guys take this information, look at yourself in the mirror and make whatever adjustments necessary, because I want you guys all to win. Much love to you. Take care.